Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here once again. Thank you for joining in. I'm waiting for the song to replay itself because last time I did this, the song replayed itself. So hopefully it won't. Hopefully it won't do that again. But it's great to be here tonight. Thank you for everyone who showed up and whoever will be watching in the future. I am grateful. I think I forgot to say that last weekend until the very end. But I am grateful and thankful for everyone who does listen and tune in. So good evening, Brother Jorge. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you tonight? I hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. I know it's starting to get a little bit colder down here in my neck of the woods, but it's probably getting a little bit colder in your neck of the woods. The temperature's starting to drop a little. This will be the first time that I put on the little portable heater out here. So, like I said, good evening, Prov Gal. So it's great to have the heat. So, you'll see twice the second week in a row that the title is just a very, lack of better words, a generic title. But I think we've talked about this last week in Brother Jorge. I wanted this really to be a place where Christians can get together, have a conversation, and talk about different things, how their week is going, how things are in their life. Far too often, we have too many people out there talking at people. And I can do that on Sundays when I put out the Sunday studies or even the Wednesday studies. But yes, I know it follows the trend of the Sunday and the Wednesday, and I understand that. But I mean, I could change the Thursdays, but Wednesday just happens to work better, and putting them out on Sundays just happens to work because I'm off there on the weekend. So there you go. But so I'm hoping your day went well today, Jorge. I was able to get up a half dozen of the signs today, so that was good. Tomorrow morning, the boys and I will get back out and get the tracks and all the mailboxes, and we're really gonna pick some roads. We got a couple of streets narrowed down that we're gonna go down and get all those mailboxes. So that's what we got there. We posted 3 signs outside of 3 different churches. 2 were Baptist church, and 1 I believe was a Church of Christ. So we put a couple signs there. So, and in different other locations. So they're out there. We'll probably get some more done next weekend. I don't have as much time during the week, to put them out there, but we'll wait till next week and get that done. I know my wife was incredibly wonderful, and she's writing on some of the tracks. She wrote she did the signs for me, so that was awesome. She was able to get that together. See, a wife and a woman can be in the ministry. It doesn't mean she has to be going out preaching on the streets every day. See, that's an example of what I was talking about before. It's just a small example of when people say, "Oh man, you're against women and you don't think women can spread the gospel." And I'm like, well, that is just utter nonsense. And that's just ignorant talk. No, my wife in her way spreads gospel. She talks to other women. She helps behind the scenes with what I'm doing here. So all of those things are help in an actual ministry. And I'm getting more comfortable just calling it, just saying it. What I do is a ministry of, in within itself, because we're all called to be ministers in a certain level. We're all supposed to be out there in a certain way. We're all supposed to, in our own way, we're all parts of the body. We've talked about this before. So therefore, that's a good example of when a woman behind the scenes working on different things. I thought I saw a click in the corner over there, but it's good. So the boys are excited because they get to help get the tracks out. I had one holding the signs in the back seat, then the one in the front seat on the back rows. But then I had to change seats because there's a certain town down here. They like to pull you over for anything. If you're about 2 miles over, they'll pull you over. They're a little bit strict. So they were both in the back seat, had the hammer, had the nail, got out, hit the different spots to put up the sign. So it's a great team effort on that one with the 2 young guys. My older one usually helps me with the internet stuff and the files and all that kind of stuff, putting all my stuff together for this ministry and getting it prepped and prepared. So it's a great family effort. Excited about that. it's just wonderful to have that, because far too often we exclude our families, even those who may not be on the perfect track or the right track right away, but to include them in certain things helps in its own way witness to them. Again, witnessing by actions can be sometimes louder than the words of which you speak. And that would be my opinion. But we're going to keep on plugging away at that. We'll get different streets done. We'll order some more gospel tracks. We'll get that done. So I did shut down the donation page. Thankful for the donation that did come back in a long time ago, or I don't know, a long time ago, a month and a half ago, a month ago, whatever it was. I just didn't like. I don't like asking for money. I don't. I know that it goes to a good cause because you're going to help me buy Bibles and so forth. But man, you should be able to do it yourself. You should be able. You want to send me something in the mail, that's fine. But I'm not gonna do the donation page because it's just wrong. I don't know. Maybe wrong's not the right word, but I work for a living. I can go buy a certain amount. But we all can do gospel tracts. We can all do certain things. We can all do that. I think we are paying too many people to do it for us. And there may be situations, maybe you live in an area where, yeah, Steve, there's like 2 houses in my whole area of the mountain. Where am I going to leave gospel tracts? Well, first those 2 houses, but then after that, I get what you're saying. But I just, it just bothered me to have that donation page there. So that's gone. That's me. That's where I stand. That's my conviction. I just can't, as a working person and a working man, worked all my life, I just can't accept the donations. I have trouble with it. Not saying you can't send gospel tracts, Bibles, or even cash to our address or whatever. And that's the other thing I was thinking about. We're supposed to rely less and less on the internet, but then I set up a donation page of taking money over the internet. So it's like kind of using the system of which we're against as King James Bible believers, knowing that leads to the end. And, so kind of a weird thing there. Yes, I know I'm on the internet here, and I get that. But yeah, I've rambled on and on about that. But again, we're all called to do this. We're all called in our own way. Leave a gospel tract at a gas station. I've talked about this. Buy a Bible. Witness to someone. That is fine. That's wherever you are. And that's just the way it is. And we've been very blessed to be able to do what we do and to be where we are. For one instant, I don't think we deserve what we got, but we have what we have, and that's all there is to it. And now we need to be able to help others in any way. That's why this channel is here. The same thing. We need to be here for one another. If there's words of comfort, some advice from people that may be in here down the road or this evening, all of those things come together. This is not a place where we should be, accusing each other or accusing others and getting involved in all that kind of stuff. Too much that goes on the world today, the internet. And I think a lot of people have lost sight of what we're supposed to be and what kind of light we're supposed to shine, what kind of beacon we're supposed to be. It's hard to shine when you have a dirty light bulb still in the socket. You might want to change that light bulb. It's getting dim and dirty, so put a fresh one in, maybe a 3-way bulb. There's a lot to be thankful for. So I'm going to go into Trump, and while anyone can jump in. I wasn't going to really talk about Trump. I'll talk about Trump very briefly, only because I was talking to an older gentleman on one of my routes, and I was asking him. I love to talk to old people. I love to talk to people of age because their mature level is higher than mine. Their experience is it's a wealth of knowledge. We sometimes forget. We like to think we have the answers when there are greater men than us, and even the non-Christian men. I know you're like, wait a second, you're supposed to talk to non-Christian. No, there are old gentlemen out there, and even women that have a wealth of knowledge of how things ran in a town or a country or what it was like. And I was talking to him about the election, and I saw he had a Jesus a sign in his garage, and there was another sign, and of course there was a small Trump sign in there. So I said to him, "Are you happy that Trump won?" I said, "But let me ask you a question." I said to him, Um, who number one would you consider the best president in your lifetime, and how has it affected you? And he said, like most older folks will say, his age is Reagan was the best, and that's common to hear that. But he said something that was very interesting to me, and he said, no matter who has been president, and it was funny because I just had this conversation on a text with another friend of mine, and he said, no matter who's been president, I've never been laid off. He said, there's been food on my table. I've never had to go hungry. And he said, it may not have been, steak or anything like that, but he says, I never went hungry. And I says, really? He says, because my faith was always in God. And that was huge to me because I just mentioned that. And that is true. No matter what happens in all of this, you need to keep your eyes on Jesus, stay in the Word of God, have faith. You will be seen through these times. And that's why I was so concerned when there's so many people that put their hopes and their dreams and what will they do in life if Donald Trump's not elected. This is not an attack or a condemnation or a endorsement of Trump or anything like that. It's just a point of fact. If you're a born again, Bible believing Christian, you have faith in God, you live the way you're supposed to live to the best of your abilities, because we are all sinners and we do make mistakes. That's certain mistakes we shouldn't make, obviously. But you maintain that road, you're going to be fine. There's going to be food on the table. It might be ramen noodles, and it might be spaghetti, and it might be mac and cheese. It may not be filet mignon. It may not be steak of any kind. It may not be a 4-course meal or a brand new nice big pink salmon you just caught up on off the Cape or anywhere else. Is salmon off the Cape? I'm not sure. It's definitely caught up there, that's for sure. And you're not eating lobster, but you'll be fed. How oftentimes we forget this. And that's why I love having conversations with people in the real world. When you are out there, for me especially, Brother Jorge, you might come across older gentlemen in your line of work, but I get to do this because I deliver, oxygen tanks, obviously medical supplies to older folks, liquid oxygen tanks. Those weigh a ton. They're like 100+ pounds. But you get to talk to people, and some of them I get to talk a little bit about Jesus, like I said before. So, salmon is in Alaska. You're right. You're right. I don't know why I said off the Cape. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I'll take a vacation on the Cape eventually, if I ever get a vacation. But going to these different folks, you just learn a lot, and you get to interact with them, and you get to sometimes bring solace to them. And sometimes they say something that really strikes you, that makes you remember to keep yourself grounded. It reminds you to keep yourself grounded and realize having faith in the Lord, you just stay that course, man. Everything's going to be all right. Again, you may not have $1 million. We're not supposed to have $1 million anyways, but you may not have all that, but you're going to be fine. And that's what I want to say about Trump. Not about, hey, Trump, stock market, blah, blah, blah. Or the Trump's a Jesuit for the Catholic Church. No, that's not what I'm bringing him up. Either way, good or bad. But I want to point out the fact that it doesn't matter who's president. Yes, certain things would happen on either side, but at the end of the day, you are going to be fine. I don't know how a better way to say that. I lack the more eloquent phrasing to point out the fact that just stay the course. That's all there is. Stay in the Word of God. That's it. Just stay the course. Don't lose faith. Times will be a little rough here, a little rough there. You might have to tighten your belt on something. You may not be able to afford this one thing this weekend, or this week, or whatever, or this month. Okay. But you're going to be, your necessities will be met. You will eat, and you will have clothes. They won't be brand new clothes. They don't need to be brand new clothes. I don't know the last time that I bought brand new clothes. My wife will tell you that. I mean, let's see, thrift stores. We used to go to a Savers up north. The Goodwills down here are absolutely terrible, in my opinion. They have place called Carm Stores. They're a little pricey, but I've got no shame in buying thrift store clothing. None at all. I'm fine. I could care less. I probably have had the same clothes in my closet. I would have to say 95% of my clothing in my closet, other than my work clothing, uh, I probably had there for 5 years now. Same stuff. I don't worry about it. Don't care. Not a concern. I don't have any ensembles. I don't have like a certain shirt and pants. I try to match them all together. Sometimes I'll wear the same two flannel shirts all the time, or the same one jacket all the time. But other than that, my needs are met. So it doesn't matter who's president. So when it comes to those things, it doesn't matter. Now, if you want to get into economy, foreign policy, blah blah blah, all that stuff, yes. If you want to get into the Federal Reserve, yes, there's differences there. But in as much as I'll get into that kind of stuff, that's fine. I don't mind getting into that stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I think last week or the week before, when I was holding up a little bit of silver that I have and some stuff, I was pointing out the fact, even though I have that, it all means nothing if I don't have God. If this is not done on a biblical level, and this is just me being selfish, and I just want to be richer than everybody else, and I want, when it all goes all the crazy and it all falls apart, I'm gonna swoop right in and I'm gonna make a fortune off of all these properties and this and that. That's not what we're there for. Hey, Axe. Grateful to hear this tonight. Some very difficult things happened at work last week, and I know the Lord has helped me through it. I've cried the past few days more than I have in a long time. Well, don't cry. Don't cry too much. I hate to sound weird or anything, but bring it to us. I mean, we're here to help you. You know that. You can talk to us behind the scenes or whatever, but that's what we're here for, to help each other through whatever it is. And I don't know what it was you went through last week, but I hope things are well, are getting better on the mend, at least, whatever it may be. Man, I wish I'd like to know what it is. But I should probably make a notation, put it in prayer. Thank you. Yes, I will. Okay. I'm just going to write this down for prayers later. So when I'm with my wife, we can pray. I'll see. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Let's trust him. Yeah. And Brother Jorge, you could probably back me up on this one. I'm always asking you to back me up, but sometimes when things happen, you're feeling like something's going south, and you're like, man, it's not the way I thought this was going to roll. And then next thing you know, out of clear blue, something happens. You're like, whoa, okay, I did not see that coming, So it's yeah, that's what I mean by never losing faith. I don't know what's wrong with my chair here. Ugh. I have a hard time sitting up like upright stiff. I'm usually more of a relaxed sitter. I like when I'm in these chairs, these executive chairs. I don't have those gaming chairs. I don't know why. Okay, side note. I don't know why grown men have gaming chairs. I don't understand that. It's not just one or two. It's just a lot of people I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to be a teenager with a gaming chair. I'd like to feel special and more, high level person, and have one of them fancy executive chairs that I bought at Walmart. So that'd be something I knew that I bought. So I said at Walmart, the chair. But I don't know. I'm talking about how relax. But there are things that just happen out of clear blue, and you're like, man, this is great. So again, never give up hope, never give up faith. I won't speak for Brother Jorge, Prav, or Axe, but I know not too long ago, I'm not happy at the job I had. All right. Yes, actually, that was actually on my mind. Remember when I told you that I was let go on Friday? By Saturday morning, I had a new job. I remember you texting me, and I'm pretty sure I answered you. I was like pretty excited about that. That was like awesome. Even put into words how much it was a blessing, even though it felt horrible at the moment. Yeah, I do remember that. I was even surprised by it. I was excited. I thought that was pretty awesome. I'm like, I remember telling my wife that. I was like, that brought a pretty big smile to my face that day when you told me that. I was like, that's great. Man, I love when other people succeed. It's just so cool. I feel like I'm talking like a child and a teenager, but it is cool. It's so cool to see people succeed and when things go well for them, and when they're it's disappointing when you see things going bad for them. But man, when they make a turnaround and something happens in their life, it's awesome. I love seeing it. I just it's just I don't know. It brings joy to me. Maybe it's crazy, but it brings joy to me to see other people do well and succeed. It's just, it's, you get happy for them, and that's exactly. Well, I mean, that's what we're supposed to, anyways, for the brothers and sisters in Christ. We're supposed to be happy for one another. That's what we're supposed to be. Yeah, praying for you, dear sister. I don't know if I was supposed to show that or not, but yes. Why am I hiding it? Praying for you, dear sister. There you go. Absolutely. I'll have that written down. But that's what we're supposed to be here together. And that's, this is why the original concept of this changing the name of this channel and stuff like that wasn't to hide from my other channel name or anything like that. There was nothing shameful. It might have been a little precocious, the title of it, when it used to be called Everyday Man of God Ministries. It just felt like, oh, it's all about me. And I had trouble with that title. But, because when I created a channel, I didn't have a better name at that time. But as time went on, I realized that the Lord has put me here and what He wanted me to do for a channel, and it wasn't about me. I can do my own things on Sunday mornings or evenings. I'll post probably my study for tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, whenever it's ready to go. But in Wednesday evenings. But these live streams are supposed to be for all of us to come hang out, talk about things, to bring things to light, to help one another. That's why it's called a fellowship and an exhortation. I think sometimes fellowship gets put in this box of an idea of what people think fellowship should be. Churches obviously think fellowship is to come there on Sundays only, and Monday, Wednesdays, and Sunday nights, and you sing some songs, and then you go straight into preaching. And there's nothing at the end of the day that's terrible about that. It gives me hope hearing that the Lord has done for others. Thank you so much, sister. Yes, we just have to keep focusing. By the way, Axe, I keep forgetting to put your channel on save. Listen, Prov Gal, Brother Jorge, she does have a shorts thing she puts out, and she does these cool sceneries, little rivers and stuff like that. I always forget to save it or subscribe to it, but they're really cool. They're really neat because I think you do a lot of hiking and stuff like that. So those are pretty cool. I like those. Just say encouragement. Yeah, those are pretty cool. So go over to her channel and her shorts channel and look at those. Sorry, Axa. Maybe I should have asked you first before I said go to your channel. Yikes. Sorry about that. But you do have some nice shorts that of little streams and little rivers and things like that. They're nice. It just reminds me how I just subbed. Oh, there you go. Yes, we do. Thank you. You're welcome. I just subbed. Jorge just subbed. Brother Jorge just subbed. Cool. But they're cool. I like those. I wish I can get out more often and do little videos like that. So that's pretty cool. But that is something. We all bring something different to the table. See, sister, you actually bring something cool and encouraging to others. I enjoy seeing it when I remember or I see it come up in my stream, or I'll look for it once in a while, but I always forget. But for me anyways, your channel reminds me. Oh, I thought you already knew, Prof. Gal. I thought you already knew about that because he's got a new guy working for him this week, I think. It reminds me of how beautiful God's creation is when I see those. It just reminds me of what beauty is out there. And that's, for me, that's what it does. So, I mean, that's helping other people in itself. Again, we all bring something different to the table. There are some folks who want to pretend like they get the market cornered and they know everything. No, or they stand alone. Nope. The reason we're called the brethren, the reason why we're called brothers and sisters, is because we're all here for one another. As corny as that may sound, we are supposed to be here for one another. That's all there is to it. It's just that simple. So I know you're having a tough week, but I hope in a small way that helps. That I love watching those little hiking videos. They're really nice. I enjoy them. But we are now. I forgot where I was going with that earlier. I was saying something else, but sometime in July. But I'll go back to some of the people I meet and I talk to, and that's the beauty of work, and that's why I think men should be working. I really do. All men should be out there because you have no idea of the opportunities that are missed. You don't understand how much knowledge that you lose, and really the chances of the missed opportunities to witness to people out there, even in a workplace. And man, I'm absolutely blessed with the job I have, except for the pay. The pay is terrible. It's just terrible. But most people will complain about their pay anyways. But to be able to be in a position to bring some sort of light, some smile. I mean, I'm fortunate because every morning I got two other drivers with us. I'm not in charge of the drivers. I'm just saying two other drivers. And I get to lead prayer every morning. God has blessed me with a job where I get to pray every morning. Oh, he's got a perk. What's your perk? I'm going to be honest. The biggest perk of it all is that it's a company out of New Hampshire, and I live in New Hampshire. That's true. So no state income tax. Oh, that's right. Massachusetts squeezed so much through the years. Yeah. Question: years ago, when I had to travel, Brother Jorge, when I went to Massachusetts to Connecticut back and forth, they were hitting me with two different taxes. Did they do that to you? Well, you didn't have the income tax, but did you feel you paid a little more? Did they charge you anything living in a state in New Hampshire and down? I never worked up in New Hampshire. Drove up to New Hampshire a million times, but never worked in New Hampshire. Not that I'm aware of. Psalm 86:15. But thou, O Lord, art a God full of compassion and gracious, long-suffering, and plenteous in mercy and truth. I think that's in my study for tomorrow. I think. I think that was in last week's study. I think I used that one. Oh, I remember that. I used that verse when I did the long-suffering video. That's that study about long-suffering. That's where I think I used that one. That's a great verse. That's why I recognized it. Excellent verse. But I'm going to pull that back up for a second. Again, God is full of compassion. And yet sometimes brothers and sisters seem to lack it. We're not gracious to each other. We're not long-suffering with another. And we have no mercy. And that is it just bothers me to no end. People who call themselves Christians and just they're unable to empathize or have compassion towards others. And that's a big deal. That's why we're here, brothers. My taxes came out weekly for Massachusetts and federal. I didn't get hit for anything. Okay. I wasn't sure if you did or not because I got hit in Connecticut and I got hit in Mass when I used to be up there traveling state to state. So I was wondering about that. But I was going back to this. We are lacking that, unfortunately, the brothers and sisters. Philip Newton did a great video. I'm trying to get a feel for him and his videos and how he is. And so far, I do like what he's got, but I don't have a lot of time to listen to videos. I'm able to when I work because I can put it on my phone and Bluetooth it to the stereo. And as I drive, I can listen to some of it. But he had talked about the waxing of the brethren. I'm probably getting that title wrong, but he is correct. There's a lot of people turning on one another, and it's disgusting. It's unfortunate. People attacking each other out there, and I'm like, man. And again, I saw this a couple of years ago. My wife will tell you, I noticed it a couple of years ago, and I noticed this weird division, and it's just a lot of, it reminded me of actually church buildings. It reminded me of the gossip and the slander and all that. And I'm like, and I told my wife, I've got to create a place where people can go as born again Christians and actually be brothers and sisters. Now we're going to have slight differences, but what we're supposed to do is talk these things out. If there is a problem that gets greater, we try to win the brother over. If we can't do that, we bring it to the people. But so often that doesn't happen. So, and I'm disappointed by that. But again, why this channel is here for again, not me, but for everyone out there. That is the most important thing. We sometimes have to stop thinking about ourselves, and the Bible teaches us, and to put others first. And I think sometimes when a preacher or a teacher or a pastor can't put others first, I personally feel that they have failed at what they're doing. And maybe they've just gone, astray for a few minutes or a few moments, but I'm going to unprofessionally drink of water. It's a high-class program. I'm drinking on air. Not that kind of drinking. That came out wrong. Somebody's going to say something. But I think it's important. And, sometimes I'll stumble over my word because it's incredible. I mean, because I'm grateful and thankful I'm here. It doesn't go by. I look back at things. I look at where I was in my life, and I'm like, wow. I look around, I'm like, I can't believe I'm in where I am. Even with, I think the down part of our life right now is my dad, not him, but his situation. And as it grows, worse, and it is getting worse. That's to be expected. But dealing with that, it's hard. It's difficult. My amazing wife does a lot of the work on that. She takes care of more of that than I do. But that's a toll. But that's life. We just have to deal with these things. When I say deal with them with no empathy, I mean we have to deal with these things, and we should be there for one another, other people who are dealing with those things. I'm a firm believer of having empathy and listening and having compassion to other people's strife, instead of throwing a verse at someone. I've never understood that. I've seen pastors do it and preachers like, well, just look at you put up Psalms 86:15 earlier, so I'll just go back to that. I'm like, well, Psalms 86:15. Read that, deal with it, have a great day. What? Where is the compassion? Where is the empathy? Where are the ears to listen to what that person is going through at that point in time? Now, there are certain people that complain too much, and I mean they complain about things that aren't really an issue. That's an issue by itself. I have a hard time dealing, Brother Jorge. I think you can back me on this one a little bit. As guys, I have a lot of problems with younger people whining and complaining about everything. It's like, oh, I don't like my job. I can't stand my job. I don't make enough money. Yeah, neither do I. Join the party. I don't make enough money. That's just the way it is. I mean, I'm thankful for the job I have, but I've had a lot of not so great jobs in my lifetime. But I don't whine and complain and go hide in the corner. That's not a man. Again, not sure any woman wants a man that's going to go crying in the fetal position because, well, I just can't work with that type of people. I can't work that. I can't work. Man, you got to work. You got to work. Again, swallow your pride and go to work. It's all there is to it. And people who know me, I'm not trying to go backwards here, but I'm a firm believer in bivocational preachers. I think that's what they call them. I'm just not a fan of even pastors and preachers that don't work for a living, because I think what happens is they lose touch. But then again, I think a minimum age requirement to be a pastor or preacher should be 40, to be honest with you, if not higher, but at least in most cases. The craziest thing is their reason for not working is too little pay. You're at zero income and not working. Right. Yeah. Well, they don't pay enough. And you're making what now? Actually, some people are making probably more staying at home. The government pays for them, whatever it may be. They're collecting off the dime. They're getting paid to stay home. So, we saw a lot of that in COVID. But you're a born-again, Bible-believing Christian man, and you have the ability. Now, that's the key point. If you are able-bodied and have the ability to do so, go for it. I talk about another gentleman I know that's paralyzed from waist down. Man has a better attitude than some Christians, some professing Christians that I know. The man is paralyzed, and you don't see him complaining. He does not complain. In fact, when I do deliver him, he's my first delivery every day. There's an old saying, half a loaf is better than no loaf of bread. I don't even know that saying, and I'm an old person. I don't even know that saying. I don't remember that one at all, and I'm old. Man, there's an old saying that I don't know. Usually I know some old stuff. I like it, though. That's a good one. I'm going to use that one day. But that guy, I make him my first stop in the morning when I get his delivery, because it just sets me right for the whole day, man, because nothing can usually bother me that day so much when I go to him, because the man has no ability to get out, do anything. Well, I mean, he has wheelchairs with the prosthetic leg, stuff like that. And we complain that we have the sniffles. Now, I'm not saying I don't empathize when you have a cold. I know it's terrible to have a cold, but sometimes we have to look at other people and what they go through and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it ain't so bad. And I think everyone here can say that they've known at least one professing Christian that whines when they shouldn't. Now, it's okay to have complaints along the way. It's okay to have some disappointment. It's okay to have a bad day. I'm not saying Christians can't have a bad day, but sometimes we have to look at the greater picture of things and what's going on out there. And I personally am blessed to have this job. Definitely not for the pay, because that's not the blessing part. But blessing, I'm waiting for Jorge to go, but you got a job. That's what I was waiting for you on that one, Jorge. But I am blessed to have a job, and I go to work every day. I go to work every day. I get to come here in my pod shed studio thing that I've been blessed to do. The Lord has given me, and I get to study out here. I get to get stuff to go out. I'm out here like 3-4 hours every night. And so when people tell me that they can't do 2 of these things, I say, no, you're wrong. You can work and you can do the YouTube thing. You know what I mean? You can, the Rumble or Spotify or whatever. You can absolutely do that. I knew a pastor up north, and I don't know if he watched this channel or not. I knew him a long time ago. Actually, I don't care if he watches or not. I don't hate the guy. I have my disagreements with him, but that happens. But the people in the church, the congregation is like 3 families, like 3, maybe 4 families. That's it. Doesn't work for a living, and that's what he does. In fact, for a little while, his wife was the one working only while he was doing this. But I'm like, why can't you go do both? You have all the time in the world. You have you only show up on Sundays and Wednesdays. You give your long-winded sermons. I'm sure he means well on his sermons. They're a little dry, a little boring. But needless to say, we didn't stay there very long. But we never really were church-building people anyway. It's not, we need to find a good fellowship. If you can find, by the way, this is where I think I don't fit. I don't fit in the Babel building side of things as what was it? Who's made popular there? Denlinger and so forth. Not that I hate Denlinger or anything like that, but that whole extreme KJV crowd. And I hate to say extreme because that's not right either, but they're so anti-Babel building. I hate the buildings. I hate the church buildings. They're nothing but sin. And I don't belong in those. But then I watch from this side. I said this before. I'm like, wait a second. I'm watching all the gossip, the slander, the excommunication, the cold shoulders, the banning. And I'm like, y'all are exactly the same except the building. That's the only thing that makes you different. I'm like, wait a second here. So I've been able to be in both sides of this field, and I just watch. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, you're way over there, and you're way over there. And there's too much hate in the heart for those 2 sides to seem to communicate. And that's unfortunate. That's very sad. And I believe that if you have a building, and I'm not talking about some big church building that sits 800 to 1,000 people. If there is a local fellowship, it doesn't have to be Baptist, clearly, or Presbyterian, clearly, or Calvinist, very clearly, or Catholic, extremely. I'm like, no. It's fine to have a small place. If you can rent a little place down the road and you got about 20 people in there, I think 20 people is more than enough. I think that's more than enough. Because we're supposed to be local pockets. No, we're not supposed to be baptized into a local church. I mean, I'm just talking about places to go. I mean, it would be nice for all of us. I think we're relying too much on the internet, and it's a great place. Don't get me wrong. It's a great place to be, but to find local people would be nice. 3 or 4 people you find, you hang out their house or your house or whatever it may be. So that's where I'm at. I've never been. Probably why I don't usually fit into these little cliques and stuff like that, because I'm not extreme. I don't go to way over there or over there. It's not about being in the middle lukewarm. It's about using common sense and following the direction of the Bible. How many times have you seen today's men especially more so on the internet than in buildings, throw out the whole pastoral epistles? They throw out Timothy, they throw out Titus. They'll reference it, but I'm like, you're not really following the guidelines to it. And that's the trouble there. There's no accountability. I thrive on accountability, and sometimes I'll even say on here, if you're in Eastern Tennessee, you can swing on by. Well, I mean, not swing on by my house, but I'll meet you somewhere and talk to you, because you can hold me accountable. You can meet me. You can talk to me. You can say, yeah, because if you have discernment, you can talk to a guy for about 10, 15 minutes, and you're like, I get this guy. I know where he's at, So I think it's huge. And that's why, having this Born Again Christian Network, the BAC network, and this kind of odd, weird little underground, so to speak, it's for people to know that there's someone out there. I know that I can go up to New Hampshire and Brother Jorge's up there. I know Sister Axe is in what state she's in. I know that we're probably, my wife and I can go through that area and meet someone there, so, and there's another person in North Carolina, so that's, I feel confident once that sister, I'm hoping she'll show up again. 2 sisters, I think one's out of Chicago and one's out of Michigan. And I would love to see them here again someday. And we know that they're someone we can see just as well as they can come through here. And that is the important part, because that's missing. I think it's huge. I was writing a book a long time ago. I was working on this book called The Winnebago Church. And the thought process was, it was a Winnebago going to campgrounds and stuff like that, and just meeting other people if they could, but witnessing different campgrounds across the country. It's a silly little book, but that's what I did. I know I just finished that kid's book. I don't know if I'll ever get it published. Now I got to find an illustrator for that kid's book. So if anybody knows anybody, I got to try to put that together, the little adventures of Tiger and Puppy. They did meet Jesus. Not like they went to heaven and meet Jesus. They were there when he was walking the earth. So kids' books, because there's no KJV books. Am I the only one not noticing this? There's not a whole lot of them. It's not a plethora. Everything's like NIV, So I don't know. I just went sidetracked on that one, didn't I? But to have the ability to feel comfortable to know that there are people who truly care, truly empathize, truly are not just yapping, talking. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I got you. Good example. And this wasn't in the Christian world. So I was running, when I worked in the school system years ago, I ran the in-house room for kids getting in trouble. They get kicked out of class. They go to the in-house detention room. That was me. I got to run that room. And I remember calling my mother one time when she was still alive. If you know my mom, she unfortunately, she died in a coma. They pulled the plug on her. But I remember calling her and say, "Hey, Ma, you won't believe what I told her the job." And she goes, "Do they know that you got in trouble in high school?" I said, "No, don't bring it up either, Ma. Don't say anything." But I was so much trouble with my mom. I did get to apologize to her before she passed away, obviously. And I was sorry for all that and putting her through all that heck of having to go to all those school meetings. Oh man, I was not a good kid. But this example of these two homies, which is a word somebody made a comment to me on one of the last videos I did. Excuse me, about homies, and I have never Talmud homies or something like that, and I have not heard the word homies in a long, long time. But he's talking like, yo, I got your back, I got your back, yo, I got your back. I'm not gonna say the other words they were saying. And as he walked out that in-house room, that dude turned to the other dude and basically said to him, "Yeah, I don't care." That's what I think we have in the professing Christian world, unfortunately. We have a lot of that going on. Yeah, no. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'll pray for you. And then you walk out the room and go, yeah, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, whatever. That's sad. But that exists, and that's the sad part. And by the way, it exists in the church buildings, and it exists in the non-church buildings. And both sides, by the way, being on both sides, they think these guys are idiots, basically. They think they're not saved. They don't think these guys have a clue. They go, oh, these guys just don't like to be in a church building and so forth. And now these guys only go think they're elitists and they're idiots and they care more about money. And they both have, believe it or not, valid points on both sides. It's kind of weird. My wife made a statement years ago, and this is the greatest line ever that she said, and said, some people treat religion like like the buffet, like a buffet center. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly how it was said, but a buffet where they just choose what they want and leave what they don't. And that's what happens on both sides. They choose what they want and leave what they don't. They choose what they want and leave what they don't. I'm like, can we stop doing that? Can we stop doing that? Stop being selfish and wanting it your way. It's not Burger King. If you're my age, I'm 50, you know the commercial. I don't know if they still run that same tagline in the commercial, but it's not your way. It's not how it works. You don't get to tailor it to you. You have to fit the Bible. The Bible doesn't fit you. You fit the Bible. You have to change your life. Does that mean we're all perfect? Clearly not. But it doesn't mean we use that whole line, well, nobody's perfect. And, it wasn't my fault that I got in that situation where I robbed the bank. Nobody's perfect. I was having a rough week. Yeah, I think that's extreme, but you get the point behind that. And that's unfortunately what exists today. But having that, now I'm going to be rude again, impolite, and drink the water. So I will talk about my dad for a little bit. He's like I said earlier, he's not rolling too well. I don't know how many people have lost family members. Obviously, like I said earlier, lost my mother in a coma. A coma? Is that how you say it? A coma? A coma? My friends down here in the South here now make fun of my northern accent. They sometimes can't figure me out. They're like, okay, how are you mixing northern and southern? I don't know, but I still say Hartford. I still say things like that. But he's going through a rough time, and we're dealing with that right now. And it's not always easy, but you gotta plug on through. You gotta plug on through. You just pray every day. You just it doesn't have to be lofty prayers. You just keep on just asking the Lord. Just say, Lord, I'm just asking, man. I pray that you give me the ability to get through this day to handle these things and to find the right words. And prayer is huge. Like I said before, I'm blessed with the job I have now that I get to lead prayer every morning at work. I was astounded to be in the situation. So I am incredibly grateful for that. And the great thing about being in a workplace is you are being held accountable. Remember that. If they know you are a Christian or proclaim to be one, you have to live to a higher standard, which if you are a true born-again believing Christian, you shouldn't have any troubles. But it's okay if they see moments of weakness into you too, because now they know you're not a fake and that you are normal and that you are not perfect. You have a bad day, but it's your reaction to those moments that are important. That's the light we can shine. And as I said before, I believe actions, and that one is an old saying, speak louder than words. And I think that's the beauty. Your actions can speak before you ever have to speak. And that to me is amazing. So that's the gratefulness of that. So, and I get two great boys, the youngest ones. Well, I got more than two great boys, but the fact that they're already just excited to go put gospel tracts in the mailboxes and stuff like that. Man, I don't know. That's a pretty cool thing. I can tell you that. It's exciting when that happens. Even my oldest boy, he's got his issues, but the kid's got a heart though. He's one of those guys. He's there for people, but you can be there for people. You can have a great heart, but unless you're saved, unfortunately, all those things are no good. And it's funny because I always feel like he'll make a great born again Christian. He just has to make that step. And there'll be moments where I think he's going to close, and then it kind of fades off. Being 20, they are susceptible to the world and everything that's going on, and it's tough. And you can't beat them over the head with it. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You'll end up pushing them away instead of drawing them near, and that becomes an issue. But he helps me time to time with the stuff that I'm doing, and so his exposure is there. So that's important too. I had a conversation with my middle son, Alex, this week, and no, it wasn't this week. It was actually today. I'm sorry, it was actually today, as we were driving looking for places to put up the signs there that my wife had made for me today, and we're going through this one stretch, and there's all these nice big houses and so forth. And I said to him, I said, Alex, well, I did talk to Alex because Josh doesn't pay attention sometimes. I love the boy, but sometimes he's like, what? There's a lot of squirrel moments for Josh, but he's a wonderful boy. And he's another one, give you the shirt off your back. He's that guy, hard worker too, that boy. But he says, most rich people are going to go to hell. And he said, okay. And I said, well, do you know why I say that? And his response was because they care too much about the worldly stuff. I'm like, yes. Yes. I'm like, that is pretty much it. They're more concerned about the wealth and what they can acquire and how big their home is. I told them, listen, if they can get a home for $100,000 instead of $300,000, yes, I know the market for $100,000 house is pretty slim. I get that, but I'm just using numbers. $100,000, $300,000, that's $200,000 that they can buy gospel tracts, buy Bibles, help people in need. There's no need for a big home. There's just not. I told him, I says, you can't bring it with you, as the old saying goes. You're not going to bring it to heaven. And where you live up there is going to be a whole lot nicer than down here anyway. So you don't have to worry about these things. So I was proud of that moment with him. And I know we're not supposed to be proud. I'm not talking about that kind of precocious proud or prideful proud. I was proud and thankful for that statement that he made. And as a dad, as a parent, I was excited that that's where he was heading for that. Now the youngest one's the same thing. He knows that it's important to help other people. And there are people in more need than we are. I think I shared the story before. I have King James Bibles that get handed out. I have to re-up on my house. The stack is a little lower than it was before, so it's a lower stack. But so he says, Dad, I need a King James Bible. I says, okay, for what? He says, for play group, because obviously my kids are homeschooled. And I'm like, okay. So they went to a homeschool, one of those co-op Christian homeschool meetups, and my wife was telling me about it. And I guess he just walked up to a kid, slammed the Bible right to the other boy's chest, and just kept on walking. I was like, okay. I run into a lot of construction guys with 60 grand on a truck. Yeah, and that's on the low end. Crazy. Yep, they have to work 7 days a week. Yeah. So what I find down here, and if anybody's watching from the South, they can tell me if they see the same thing. I'll drive around. I'll see these trailer homes, and not the nice trailer homes, like the ones that would fit into the trailer park, so to speak. Because now trailer homes look like manufactured homes. They look like nicer houses now. But you'll see this, like you said, 60,000, 80,000 grand truck out there, and and the rundown shack. And I'm thinking to myself, are you planning on living in the truck? I don't understand that at all. That amazes me. I would have put more into the house where I got to live. You know what I mean? To make sure my roof is not leaking or anything. To throw lumber, sheetrock, stone, certain. Yeah, I'd rather buy a beat up truck. Give me an old diesel truck that's beat up. Hey, I got some miles, but I'm gonna beat it up anyways. That's just me. I'm not knocking. I'm not condemning anyone. But man, why do you want to put that kind of money? You go get yourself, an F-350, and I'm not condemning people, but I do not understand. And you're gonna beat that thing to heck. I do not understand. You're just beating the crazies out of it. Why? I do not. It just doesn't make sense to me. My brother had the same complaint, actually, brother Jorge. My physical brother, my earthly brother, years ago, he used to be in construction. In fact, that was my first job, was for Solid Rock Construction Company. I was 14 years old, obviously paid under the table. And basically, my job was to be a grunt. I had to do whatever they told me to do. I still remember this to this day. And it was a great lesson learned. I wish kids would learn this lesson. Man, my job was I'd have to go get their lunch out of their trucks. I would have to do all this whole dumb stuff for them. And basically what it is you earn the respect because you work your way up from that totem pole. I know I'm using an Indian, Native, whatever American term. I don't, but that's how they refer to us when you're working your way up. And you do all these crazy things. And my brother was telling me, he goes, one time we were at one of the diners, and when you're in working construction, you eat a lot at the diners. Back then, I don't know about now, but so we're eating. He says, "See that truck out there?" He told me how much money it was. He goes, "It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. These guys buy these brand new trucks for what?" And I'm like, I agree. My brother had he had. Oh, I want to say it was a Ford. I know he once had a Ford Ranger, but I think it was a Ford. It was a metallic blue with a white top. The cap on the back was a white, and he had silver. I think it was like silver mags. Mag wheels are usually white, but these were silver, and real nice. That truck ended up getting stolen by somebody and wrapped around a tree. The kid who stole it was the older brother, a kid I went to school with, Glenn Teeter, and but he says, for what? All that money for nothing. And he used to just a bunch of junk in the back of the truck, and he didn't have I don't know if they had made him then, but he didn't have the Rhino lining inside of it. He didn't have that. It was just the actual bed itself, just the metal bed. It was scraped, dented. And I'm thinking, if I had a brand new truck, that would drive me crazy. I don't know how we just went down this road, but it's just all that money for that for what? I mean, buy a couple of Bibles, gospel tracts, buy a homeless guy a sandwich. I don't know. I just feel like there's more use to all that money. I'm not trying to be, earthy, crunchy, lefty socialist here, but yeah, we should be helping some other people. I mean, people are in need, and we're just dropping $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 on a vehicle. It's just, I do not understand it. I just don't. I think it makes you look stupid. I mean, I think it makes you look worse than you think it does. And I know some guys that get mad at me and go, "Oh, that's because you can't afford one, pal. You can't afford a truck like this." And nor do I want to. In fact, if I could afford the truck, I wouldn't get it. Now, here's the thing. There was a point in time where I kind of looked at things like that, and there are a lot of things about my life that would change for the better, but then there are things like that. I like Mustangs. I like Cadillacs. I like those vehicles. They were nice. But now I have no desire to own them. Although I would like to get a Mustang, a stick Mustang standard. Well, they're all standards. Well, they should be. So I can teach the boys how to drive stick. That's kind of, I can drive a 10-speed, not the bicycle. I do have my B license to drive a 10-speed. Not fun to drive a 10-speed, but can drive one. I think it's important to do. You never know when you're going to need that ability. But so much money is wasted on that, and we forget how many people are wanting in this world who are barely making it week to week, and they can't always buy an extra can of soup and put it up in the pantry and things like that. And that's another thing. If we can help brothers and sisters in that way, we should be. That's a huge deal. I'm not saying help everybody, because there are people out there, obviously, you help a couple times and you're like, okay, we're good now. You've abused this. You're not changing anything. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. You need to fix this. You need to figure yourself out. You need to get yourself straight. But yeah, we're supposed to help each other out whenever we possibly can, whether it be throwing a $20 bill in the mail to somebody or whatever it may be. Yeah. But someone who completely abuses that privilege, I would say we kind of walk away from that at that point in time. We don't cut communications off with them or just cut them off completely, but you got to take a step back for a moment. Of course, that's popular today, getting banned and excommunicated and stuff like that from places. I find it sadly humorous, because that's just weak. It's just weak. And I know the people, it's happened to people, and that's unfortunate. It's happened to me, which I was surprised at. The channel Brian Denley, I'll use that one because he's pretty popular in the whole KJV thing. Him, Steven Anderson, Bob Breaker. Bob, yeah, Robert Breaker, Gene Kim. They're kind of the whole moderner guys that are in that movement, stuff like that. But I had gotten banned from his channel, which is funny because I've never said anything bad about the guy. I do disagree with some stuff of his, clearly. I like Peter Ruckman, but I disagree with Peter Ruckman sometimes. Vernon McGee, I like Vernon McGee, but I disagree with him. And it's just the same thing here. You can like me, and you can also disagree with me at the same time. I can like you, and I might disagree with you too. It doesn't mean it's a negative thing. Sometimes brothers and sisters don't see eye to eye, not in a negative, let's fight it out kind of way. And like, I don't know, I don't see it that way. I think it's, but unfortunately, we don't have that. There is brothers and sisters are having a difficult time out there having an open dialogue, or some are having the fear of having an open dialogue because they're worried about being slandered or talked about, and if that happens to you, I'm sorry. And if that does happen to you, whoever is doing those things, those people are weak, pathetic, and pitiful, and they need to repent of those sins. So if that is happening to whoever's here and whoever's walking down the road, just understand they are in sin, they are in error. Now, it doesn't mean we should hate them. It should mean we still love them, and we should still pray for them to repent of what they're doing and become better and do the right thing. I won't really go talking negatively against people unless someone's bringing something up to me. I will be honest with something. If somebody has a question, I'll be honest with my answer. There'll be no malice in my answers, that's for sure. Like here, me and Brother Jorge. Brother Jorge is an administrator on this channel. Not that I am big time or anything like that, clearly. But we had talked about this before. We're not going to ban people or excommunicate them because they may say something or they may question something I said and disagree with me. And Brother Jorge's not going, well, that guy's banned. That girl's banned. Can't be talking against Stephen. That ain't right, man. Can't do that. No, we should be doing that. Freedom of speech. We live in a country that's supposed to have freedom of speech, but that's just insane when people do that, and that can't happen. It just can't. I don't want to go on and on about that, but it can't happen. It is an absolute sin and a travesty to brothers and sisters in Christ. It shouldn't happen, and it will not happen here. It just, unless someone's cursing, unless someone's swearing. I don't mean trying to curse you, but actually cursing foul language. We're going to have to go, hey, listen, well, we don't mind you being here, and you want to learn something, you want to discuss something, that's fine, but language, can't have that. I don't care if people call me names or what we got going on here. I believe in freedom and liberty. Yes, I do too. Although, funny enough, liberty, that is on my, as I turn my back to the camera, That is on my, where's my finger? Right there. That's the upcoming, those are studies that are on the docket working on. And these, how do they do that on these cameras? Those right there. Those are studies that are completed and are coming out in the next week to week to week. So it's like I got 4 right there. Oh, there's one missing. So I got 5 already ready to go. Oh, these are 4 of the Sunday ones. And then I have the other King David ones coming up next couple of weeks. But Liberty is on that list. Liberty is an interesting. Okay, what we got here? I don't know too much about the guy, but Patrick. Oh yes, I was like, Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. There's more to him than that. Patrick Henry. I'm not going to get him. I got the founders of the Constitution, both books on Declaration stuff up there. To go, oh, wait a minute, you're one of those guys? You're one of them, patriotic Baptist gun-toting. Yeah, no. Again, we make assumptions on things. But yes, liberty is on the docket because people have a different opinions of liberty. When people go, you have the liberty to do certain things as a Christian, not if the heathens are doing it. Sorry. That gets me to hot water. I'll say it right now. We'll see how many subscribers I lose. We don't celebrate Christmas. We don't at all. The kids don't miss it. Now, am I going to call you out and say, you're a blasphemy sinner, you're going to hell, and I don't want to ever see you on my channel ever again? Excuse me. No, that's not going to happen either. It's amazing how people do that. We don't celebrate because Christmas is a pagan holiday. It's just that simple. My wife she did research on that a long time ago, and she did a wonderful job on that when she did all that stuff. She knew a few things I didn't know. But it's a pagan holiday, and it's not a liberty thing. I think people get confused that it is. Doesn't mean I'm going to hate you because you say it is. It's a liberty thing. It's not a liberty thing. That's not what that means. It's not what it means. We'll do the study that'll be coming out. Well, that's not what that means. You don't have liberty to, the whole idea of liberty is sin. You have free will to sin. You have liberty. There's liberties that we're given, and I don't want to get too far into it and be another hour and a half talking, but no. I find it interesting people who go wishy-washy on that or flip-flop on that one. I know one particular gentleman who was anti-Christmas, but then they had a child, and then they were pro-Christmas, and I'm like, it's not how that works. And I understand now. I sympathize with that because of your child, and you're like, oh man, what do I do? Well, I'm going to tell you what I do, and you can accuse me of compromising if you want. And that's okay. I don't mind. I've been accused of things. No big deal here. Not to be precocious, but I'm 50 years old. It's tough to hurt my feelings. We don't celebrate Christmas, but we have a family day. It is not normally around Christmas. Unfortunately, this year it'll be not on Christmas, but we like to, we're usually in the early part of December, right after Thanksgiving. We try to, because Thanksgiving's November, so we can't have family day in November because we already got that day. And we have family day. There are no lights, there are no trees, there are no decorations, and none of those things. I think my wife was concerned, and I was concerned when we first did a family day years ago. We were worried that the kids, how would they react, and their reaction proved to me one thing: we make it up. Remember, this whole Christmas thing it's not that big of a deal in America. There was no Santa Clauses or Satan Claus. We make it up in our heads that our kids will be disappointed. We promulgate this tradition over and over again. At some point, you have to just stop and then begin anew. And now you can be the generation that changes the future generations, however long we're here. Yes, we can be at 2027 when the asteroid hits and stuff like that. We can be 2030. I grew up in the end times world, the Pentecostals and stuff like that. Grew up in that world, but I'm worried about today and living for God. Whenever we get caught up, we'll get caught up. But you can rip the Band-Aid off and be done with it. My kids didn't miss it at all. They don't even think twice. In fact, they'll tell you right now that they think Christmas is evil because it's using Jesus Christ as an excuse to celebrate Moloch and Santa Claus. And they're not messed up in the head and are like, man, you got these kids brainwashed. No, they're normal kids. Play outside like every other kid. The only difference between them and some other kids maybe is they read a whole lot of the Bible. That's probably the difference there. But they don't worry about it. They don't even want to go to a store that has Halloween stuff in it because of the evilness of it. I remember Josh a couple of years back when we were up in Stafford Springs, and we were driving, and he asked if we could take a different road. I says, why? He says, because on this road, there's a bunch of evil stuff in people's front yards. I'm like, and I told him, I said, unfortunately, no matter what road we go to, there's going to be that. So I told him, I said, if you don't want to see it, just either block your eyes, close your eyes, look at the floor or something, buddy. You know, unfortunately, it's in our face every day. We have to be in there, except for those who don't go out in the world and they just kind of hide themselves. But, you know, it's there. So that's what we do, Family Day. Now, you may call me a heretic, compromiser, or things like that. Or, oh, you're just, you're still doing Christmas, but you're not calling it Christmas, and you're still doing the gift giving. Well, at least I didn't. At least I wasn't anti-Christmas, then had kids and was pro-Christmas. You know what I mean? Now, with that being said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're the worst person that is on the face of the planet because you celebrate Christmas. My hope and wish is that you stop celebrating it. I know my wife and I will recognize the birth of Christ, which is at the end of September, early October. We take a moment to look at that. Now, Easter we celebrate, but we celebrate Resurrection Day. We don't do the whole Ishtar thing. We don't do the egg hunting thing, things like that. We're against. There's a lot of churches: Church of Christ, Church of God, Baptist churches. Not all Baptist churches, but some of the hardcore Baptist churches. There is a hardcore element Baptist church who are just real old school. Like they don't touch any of that stuff either. Hard to find, but the one thing they do touch every single time is Christmas. They decorate the place for Christmas. And I'm like, why do you do that? You're King James. Why do you do that? But my hope and prayers and my hope is that there will be folks who stop celebrating it because it's made up. We brainwashed ourselves and been brainwashed to do it for years. So nobody's gonna hate me yet. I was expecting like somebody to like be mad at me. My wife will say, "Why do you want somebody to be mad at you?" But they have that. I don't know how we got down that road, but I guess we did. I don't know how much we'll get. And Patrick Henry, I think that's where we started from. We do have a certain element of freedom. We have a freedom to sin, but it's not a freedom to willfully sin. The freedom is the knowledge of knowing, and this is really rudimentary or very rough without the eloquent speech that I wish I had. We do sin. We have the freedom to make mistakes, not because we should make them, but we have the free will to make decisions, but we should be using discernment. We have the freedom for these things. It exists, but freedom is an interesting thing. But here in this country, in a lot of places, freedom is very, is a wonderful word. We are given, as American citizens here, we have a borrowed freedom. It's like a rental freedom. It's freedom, but it's got some catches to it, There's some stuff in the fine print, but the only freedom that I care about is that's even greater than the freedom, Jorge, that you were talking about that we have here, is the freedom that God gives me, because I know I'm going to be fine what I do, in the end. No, I don't mean the confusion of once saved, always saved. Now, I obviously look at it different because people have two different ways of looking at it. Once saved, always saved. You have the one side that says, no matter what sin you commit, you're always saved. That's wrong. The other people say, once saved, always saved. And then somebody does commit a sin, they go, oh, that means they were never saved. not really how that works. Once saved, always saved means that you don't do those things. You don't have the desire to make those things. Matthew 11:29 in the King James Bible. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. That's a beautiful. It's used a lot, but it's still beautiful. I like that verse. It still resonates. It still means something. We don't have to worry. And I don't understand people who are, now I believe in prepping to a certain degree and preparing, but there's a difference between biblical preparation, which that's on the docket, and the worldly kind of preparation. Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Yes, amen. It's not this. I've heard preachers talk about freedom and liberty, but they talk about it in a secular way, which is odd to me. I don't know why they do it that way. It fascinates me. Okay, Brother Jorge's on a roll now. He's here. Here he goes. I love Brother Jorge. Galatians chapter 2, verse 4, and that because of false brethren unaware brought in, who came in privily to spy out our liberty, which we have in Christ Jesus, that they might bring us into bondage. There's a good one. Yeah, that is a good one. I don't know if I used that one. I may have. It's possible. I'd have to look it up in my documents. Unfortunately, I don't want to attack anybody in the King James movement. There are those, and again, you've heard me mention the guy Reverend Grant. He's just one of my favorite examples, but there are people out there who will hold this wonderful, wonderful Bible. And they'll also hold it up and tell you the same thing I'm going to say to you now, which is the awesomeness of that. I love when that happens. That's not a real love. That is the most amazing part, that they can hold this up and lie bold-faced to you and say, they're holding these Bibles up and they're sinning while they themselves are holding the Bible up and sinning. The hypocrisy of that is absolutely amazing to me. But there are men who say that means everything to them, but they only follow what's good for them, what's comfortable for them, what they are willing to, and they are able to espouse what you should be doing or how you should live. I don't take a lot of advice from children. It's not something I do. A lot of people are children, unfortunately. Not everybody who's younger doesn't have knowledge. It's not what I'm saying. It's not that they don't know anything, but there are certain things that some people should not talk about, because they should keep their mouths shut, only because, and that sounded rude, but because they have no understanding of that. They're not able to tell you how to do things. It's like me telling, I'm using a workplace thing, but it's like me telling Brother Jorge, listen, this is what I read in a book, and this is how I think you should do drywalling. I think this is how you should, in my opinion, that this is how you should do sheetrock. And Brother Jorge is going to look at me and goes, okay, do you have any experience in sheetrocking? Well, no, but I know how it's supposed to be done. You do. You have experience. You've gone through it. No. Okay. And I think I made the joke before. There's always that one guy goes, that's not how I would have done it. But that, I think we talked about it before. That's what I see too that happens. There are certain things there are probably certain things that I won't preach or teach because of I don't know. Now, I can be empathetic to a drug addict, and I can be sympathetic to a recovering drunk addict, but I don't know what it's like to go through that. I don't have that. Now, I hope that we get more brothers and sisters in there, and someone who knows how that feels and what's been through it. And that's what they're going to be there for. They can talk to that person and, hey, listen, I know what you're dealing with. So I don't have the right. Now, I can tell you about having love and patience and mercy, but I can't tell you what it's like to be in that situation. Oh, Brother Harley, I would tell you to show me just so I can get away with not having to do the sheetrock. That's a good one. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm going sidetrack. I worked with my brother, and these guys, man, they would just hold, it's like on their head, and they just like zzz, zzz, zzz. I'm like, it was crazy how they would do that. These guys were insane. But I will not tell you or pretend to have that knowledge. I don't know. Now, if it came to losing someone in my family to suicide, yes, I could probably have a conversation with you. If it was, things of losing a parent or that, yes, I could probably talk to you about that. But that's why we have brothers and sisters. And unfortunately, we have those who want to shut the brothers and sisters up because they may have an opinion, because they've probably been through something and they want to share, and they want that person running that church or that internet or whatever it may be. They're like, whoa, this is my show. This is my deal. I'm going to be the one. I kind of run this. I'll tell you what the Bible says. And as important as what the Bible says, they are unable to explain how to put that into practicality, and that becomes a huge problem. If you can't take that and put it into practicality, then you don't have the right to bring up the verses and scriptures all the time. That's kind of where I fall sometimes. Now, there are things I don't know. There are things I do know. And again, I'm repeating myself, but excuse me, there's something all of us here know, and there are some things we're not as clear on. I hate to say we're all on a different journey, but we are at different points. We've studied further in different areas. I may have studied more of Timothy and Titus than Jorge has. I'm not saying I have. I'm just, Brother Jorge, if you don't mind me using an example. And he may have studied more of Ezekiel than I have. It doesn't mean that he's better than me or I'm better than him. He just happened to study that more than I did, and I know I just put a lot more time in that area. We should put our time in the whole Bible, don't get me wrong, but we both, a lot of us have different things that we study more of or have knowledge of. I hope that makes a little bit of sense, but that's why we're here, to be here for one another, not only just to lift each other up, but fellowship. And this is going way back at the beginning of the stream here, but I never know to call these things. I'll call it a program, a podcast, a show, a fellowship. It's different for me because it's on the internet, so I don't have a really good word for those things. Fellowship means getting together. That's what that means. It doesn't have to be one way of doing it. We don't have to do breakdown of Matthew. We don't have to do an overview. We don't have to do verses. We don't verse by verse. We don't have to do singing and then a structured sermon or a structured sermon then singing, or all these different things. No, a fellowship is just getting together, sharing, talking. That's what it is. It's not a constrained box, because then you're creating a man-made thing. We're here to be with each other for a while. I wonder how long is a while, because I'm looking at, an hour and 27 minutes. All right. I've been here a while. I don't want to go too long, because I'm going to keep too many people up too late. But we do have to be reminded of that. Fellowship is not a certain structure in a box. It is really just Christians. And it doesn't even have to be on here, by the way. You can email each other. I mean, I know I have the Facebook. I don't know. So I created that Facebook for women only, for a place for them to talk. But I've been thinking more and more about it. I'm going to put in the Facebook to the ladies. I would like to change it and open that up to all of us. It's still a private. It's not going to be a public, but private. Like for people like Jorge and to be in there. More of the brothers and sisters to be talking with on Facebook. So I'm going to put that out to the ladies that are on there and see if they're comfortable with that. If they would like to keep it for themselves, just to have a place for women. Completely fine by me. That was the original intent. But we'll see what happens with that. I don't go on Facebook very often. I'm not a Facebook person, guy thing. I guess I've always feel like more women are on Facebook, but I could be wrong because again, I'm not on Facebook enough to know if it's for women if there's more women than men. But we have to have the comfortability to have a place where you're not going to be, shunned and all this other nonsense. It's just, man, I hate that. I know we're not supposed to hate, but I hate that that's happening to people out there. It's to use Hillary Clinton's line, it's deplorable. It's just, man, there are brothers and sisters in need, and they get shut down, and they get. I am glad that I've never had my feelings hurt in those situations. Like I said, I've been blocked or banned from one place by the Brian Denlinger channel thing there, which is fine by me because I didn't even watch him anymore. It's funny because I hadn't watched him, any of his videos for, I gotta say, a couple of years. I could be wrong, could be more. Probably a couple of years, maybe a little less. Maybe I saw a video less than that, but I forgot what it was that came up on my radar. Oh, he was talking about young men and young Christians, and I did make a comment about yes, that I agreed with him. All men should be working, and then that turned to something else, and somebody else popped in, and blah blah blah, and then I got banned, which is funny because then I left the praise on somebody else's channel because their son. I forgot what their son was. There, I think it was actually Sister X. I was talking about her son. Something about her son might have been going off to the Navy or something. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. But anyways, I left the praise on there, and it wasn't there anymore. It got blocked. So, maybe it's not Brian Denner. I don't care because I don't really watch him anymore. Not that I have anything against him. I don't know him. I don't care. Don't care in a bad way. I don't watch the guy. But it was unfortunate. And then, first time I've ever been banned from something like that. That's crazy. And that got me wondering, wow, is that what goes on? Is that what other people, because I've heard from other people that's happened to them. I'm like, wow, that really happens? Like, yikes. I think whoever's doing that might want to look at themselves in the mirror and kind of reevaluate their position in life and where their Christian values are at. But I don't know. I don't know that person well enough to even have that conversation. But it's going back to Jorge earlier. Freedom and liberty is a beautiful thing, isn't it? We are supposed to have freedom to be in a place to communicate with other Christians. Even if we may not 100% agree with what it says, even if we don't 100% agree with each other, we still shouldn't. Hey, Chris, good to see you. We're an hour and a half into this, and I don't know if you've been here all night. It's great to see you, buddy. Chris, wonderful guy. In fact, I'm going to call Chris. No, I won't call Chris out. I will just say that Fender guitar right there was a gift from, I'm not going to say it was Chris. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it was Christopher, but good guy. He's a great guy. I'm not saying that because he's here, but he is a great guy. He's, in fact, Christopher knows the person I'm talking about that was sent me a text about that he hopes whoever gets president was God's will. And I was telling that person that just stay in the Word of God. That's all that matters. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Stay in the Word of God. He knows who I'm talking about. But it's great to have you, Chris. Wow, this is the first live stream. If everybody can say hello to Christopher, that would make me happy, anyways. Welcome, Christopher, to the live stream. But yeah, we are supposed to be here to help, and we're not all on that same path. We're at different little parts journey, and that's why we have to be here for one another. That's how we go. Hey, that's not, you're a little in error over on this side, and error, a little error on this side, and things like that. But we have to be here for another. I think I was talking about younger people. Not all younger people are morons. A lot of people just think every younger person's an idiot. That's not true. But there are stations in life. There are ways we do things. That's why it bothers me that people today throw out the whole pastoral epistles and how the elders are supposed to run, how that all works out, and they go, "Oh, that was a different time." Okay, but you're going to say that was for a different time frame, but then you want to use the verses in that time frame to work for you. Because I too like guitars. Just joking. Speaking of guitars, there's a guitar down here that's called a Blue Ridge guitar, and I had never heard Blue. And I played a Taylor, I played a Takamine, obviously Ovations, Gibsons, Washburns, and so forth. Not expertly. I'm not a great player, but Blue Ridge is a nice guitar. But I don't know why I just went south on that. But an hour and a half into this thing, it was still going. I'm like, but I hope, and I really do. I really. It might be a selfish desire, but I hope that more people can find the ability to find other born-again Christians where they can feel comfortable with each other, and they can realize that they're not going to be, shunned or anything, like the Amish or anything, or excommunicated like the Catholic Church does and bans people and so forth. And I can only say that it will never happen here. Sometimes you can't believe someone right away. It's like, oh, we'll see. Because what if I come out against you pretty hard on something? Okay. Again, this may sound precocious, but I've had too much happen to me in this world, and I've seen way too much stuff, not as much as one man, but more than another man, for me to have my feelings hurt and that I can't deal with something. I may get something wrong. Oh, no, I might get something wrong. Okay, that's why, again, we are here for each other as brothers and sisters, and we're here. The brethren are here to help each other out. We need to remember kindness, humility. We need to remember love, exhortation, and yes, we need to rebuke others, absolutely, but in a biblical manner, in a biblical fashion. And if you don't, then we got problems. You're not running your life right. Forgive Chris if he doesn't answer, because if I remember correctly, where he lives, he gets really bad service. So he might tune in and out on that. I'm not trying to defend him, but I know where he lives, and he gets bad reception. I was surprised to see him here on the live stream. I don't know if I can add more to that. Brother Jorge, you can probably add to it. Chris. I don't even know if Axe is still watching. Oh. Let's see. Imagine someone who is lost, is just asking questions and genuinely searching for truth, gets banned. What would they think of us born? Absolutely. I think that's important. I'm going to leave that there for 1 second, brother. What we cannot do is pay evil with evil. And that is I'm paraphrasing. But unfortunately, there could be people who come on here or anywhere else and trying to start trouble on purpose or try to rile things up. But what greater way to reach them by not letting them get under our skin, so to speak, to show them patience and kindness and love, and show us what born-again Christians are supposed to be, and then you have them going, wow, I just threw all that at them, and they didn't even get angry at me or ban me. Right, because we're not supposed to. That's not how we should be reacting as born-again Christians. It's not how it's supposed to be. Now, again, I'll say if people are using foul language, Christopher, I am living proof of God's love. Yes, brother. You have been. I'm not telling his story at all, but I do know Brother Chris, and he's had his moments, to say the least. He's had a few moments in his lifetime. To put it lightly. I admire him. I admire what he's had to fight through and where he is today. I think it's awesome. I think he can even admit that he's not 100% to the place that he would like to be, and none of us should be thinking that we are where we want to be yet. We want to be better, not because we want to be better than everybody else, but we want to put ourselves close to God. We want to get in that better position. Every day we're trying to fight to be a better Christian, and we will never strive to be perfect because we never will be. But he's I'm proud of his life. I think what he's done with his life is phenomenal, and good job to him. I don't know any better way of saying that, but and I didn't know him when he went through these struggles, but I know of it, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. You know, I couldn't be happier for him to see what he's gone through. But I don't even remember what I was saying before that. Now I think it was magic. Someone, yes, people coming in. How are you going to get offended by people? So if you're easily offended, you get all mad and oh no, and go, oh, they're just out to get me. They're just trying to destroy my channel or my ministry or this or that. I'm like, what? Oh, they just want to take down my church building. And then what is wrong with you? I'm like, that's crazy. If a professing Christian shows that type of behavior, and you see paranoia and things of that nature in them, I would personally have to relook at that person going, hey, something ain't right here. Because I don't believe any born-again Christian should have any type of paranoia. In fact, you should be expecting people to come at you and try to knock you down and try to make your life heck and try to ruin your day and trying to, whatever it may be. Hello, that's the deal. And if you can't handle that, then fine. And there are those out there in this world who think everything's a persecution. You know, guess what? We get sick. We get a cold. We break a leg. We break an arm. We get arthritis in our knee. That's not persecution. Tell that to Paul. Tell that to Peter. Tell that to people in Africa. Tell that to people in China who get killed because of their beliefs. Tell them that you're being persecuted. Well, to me, that's a slap in their face. That's awful. We're going to be persecuted. If you can't handle negative words towards you, because it does happen. If you're a Christian, it's going to happen. If you can't handle that, then you're not going to handle the bigger things. And you're not going to be able to help people to get through certain things. You're going to have to be a man. I say man because you know my stance on men being in that position of preaching. Not that women can't spread the gospel. I talked about my wife earlier about that. Just, you know, when she goes to those homeschool meetups and talking to other women, that's talking about the Bible. They're not all on the right path. That's not negative. I'm not saying it's bad about them, but she has those opportunities that she can. And gospel and spread the gospel doesn't have a set way. Sometimes you, like I said, you do lead by example, and then it can lead to words. So it's just we have too many people on that side and that side who have created these boxes. And the only box, so to speak, that you should fit in is this Bible. What does Timothy tell you? What does Titus tell you? What does Matthew tell you? What does the First and Second Corinthians tell you? What do the Gospels tell you? What is Hebrews? What is James? What is Jude? What are they telling you? What are they saying? What is it saying? That is your example. Not what that side's doing on the internet, not on that side in the church buildings over there. That is not your examples. And they could be doing a fine job, but at the end of the day, it has to be here. If the people on the internet don't line up the Bible and the people in the church buildings don't line up with the Bible, then there is an issue. And I don't mean to look for any flaw that you can find. I know that people like to do that out there. They look for any little tiny flaw, and I get that. That's fine. Do what you got to do. But that's not what we're talking about. It's amazing how many Christians make mistakes and how many other Christians persecute or attack them for that mistake that they've made. Now, again, I would have to say, what kind of mistake was it? If you have murdered someone, yeah, I don't think you're a Christian. If you have slept with multiple women while being married, I don't think you're a Christian. You know, things of that nature is a little bit different. But there are too many Christians who make mistakes but are attacked and put down for making mistakes. So the ones who committed a sin and made the error are being attacked by people who are then themselves creating a sin, and then they're now being in sin, in an error, and doing what they're doing, because there's no love, there's no kindness, there's no humility, there's nothing there, there's nothing. We're just attacking. I guess I just did my Donald Trump impression. Hey, there's nothing there. And again, where's the exhortation? Gone. And the kindness doesn't exist. Humbleness, not there. Humility, nope, just attacking. Well, you shouldn't have made that mistake, or what you should have done. Okay, let's communicate with that person first. Let's listen to the situation, and they might actually be very remorseful about what happened, because I'll tell you what, new Christians do make mistakes and they do sin. It's just the way it is. A lot of people go, no. When you're a born again Christian, you're brand new, you're perfect. No. Some people do, though. I've met people and I've known people that have changed like that almost overnight. There are other people who change. There is a change happening. That's important. And you have to understand, discern that. And if you're going to if you're going to be a teacher or a preacher, and if you cannot discern that, then you need to not be in that position. Just step down, have a nice day. You can still be a Christian. I'm not questioning your being saved, but you're not supposed to be in that position. You're going to have to go do something else. And that's important to understand, that discernment. People can change over the time, not like 80 years, but they change. They're making these progressions, and then sometimes they either get no discipleship or terrible discipleship, and they end up in a bad spot. And then they do question, like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what my next move is. I thought I was supposed to do this. And so the Bible says, then the preacher says this. And I don't understand. I'm so confused, Lord. Give me, all these things happen. Why? Because there are a lot of people who think they know what they're doing, don't know what they're doing. Going back to what I was talking about, Jorge, we were talking about sheetrock and drywalling. There are people who say they know what they're doing, but they kind of maybe lied on their resume. I'm just saying, maybe they can't cut as well as they say they can. Now, I didn't cut that wall panel very well. Now, the reason I did this, there was a wonderful person who was going to help me do this. And I wanted to prove to myself, I'm like, you know what? You may not always have that person or somebody around who can help you. Do it yourself and see how it comes out and work on it. I wanted to to remind myself that, hey, you can do this. Now, did I do it very well? No. It was not a perfect job. I can tell you that right now. Made a few errors and a few mistakes and a couple of miscalculations. But I get to spend time with my older son, and we got to work on a little bit of that together. So, should I have called that person? Maybe. I should have probably brought him down for some cheeseburgers and did a better job, but that's okay. It happens. It wasn't because I didn't want that person's help. It's because I wanted to see if I could prove myself that I can do it, because we're not always going to have someone there to help. We have to learn to do things ourselves. It's like the fence that we're going to put around the chicken coop. I plan on trying that old school way of doing that instead of just, hiring a guy or stuff like that. So, but man, again, sidetracked again. How I went side shifted on that one again. I do that very often. But there are so many valuable things that we can learn from each other. And we all have, some of us have more than one or two things that they can offer. We all have something, knowledge that we can partake to someone else. We can all help each other in a certain way. Looks good to me. Time spent with your son is the reward. I'll disagree on the first part. I don't think that doesn't look that great, but I thank you for that. I thank you for that. But yeah, the reward was with my son. Even if we maybe we got a little heated a couple times, hanging stuff up. But listen, you know what it's like. You're working with somebody all the time. You're like, come on, I told you move it over here. He goes, I didn't hear you say move it over here. That thing happened. But all in all, we had a great time doing it, and it was an incredible experience. I enjoyed every part of that. We did a roost bar last week. My 9-year-old helped me with that. He's going to be 10 actually tomorrow. My 9-year-old helped me with that. I let him use a skill saw, not by himself. I held his hand the skill saw, so he got to cut off part of that roost bar to put in the roost. So that's time well spent. And like I said, the time we spend, me and the two younger ones, we hit the road with the gospel tracks tomorrow. We hit the road with the putting up the signs in a couple of towns near me, down in Etowah and Englewood. They'll probably be blown off the poles by tomorrow. Who knows? But that time is great too. It's kind of like every Friday night we have game night. We play Uno, mostly Uno. Sometimes we'll play Boggle or cards, but man, you can't get that back. You just can't. Brother Jorge, I know you obviously you have children, and you know what it's like, man. Every moment is just precious, and you get worried that you may not spend enough time with them, but but they're all going to fly the coop eventually. I think my wife wants me to make a compound here where all the kids will live on the same property in their own little houses. But that's a mother for you. Mothers like to be near their children. They want their children, and mothers have a very unlimited amount of love. They have a very large volume of unconditional love for their children. I think wives and mothers have more love and more mercy for children than guys do. I'm not putting down men at all. It's just something that not all guys like that. Some guys have more love and mercy than the wife does, but more often than not, the wife does. Usually, it's that maternal. But I've also known mothers that do not have that maternal instinct, which fascinates me. I've known a couple women like that, which is amazing to me. They grow up so fast, always our babies. Yeah, that's a mother right there talking. That would be a mother talking. Yes. Yeah, they do grow up. I was just looking at my son Alex, and I did make the comment to my wife as he went to wash his hands after he excused himself from the table. We're very thankful. We have very polite boys. They excuse themselves from the table. But they're still boys, and they do argue with each other outside and yell at each other. But they always work it out. But we're pretty fortunate that they're growing up that way. So we're blessed there. That's great that he can use a skill saw. Sounds like he's ready for the table saw. Brother Jorge, man, if you I don't try not to brag about children or anything like that. Your girls already knows how to like perfectly cut them vegetables, so that's pretty awesome. She's doing a good job on that. Yeah, he's a builder. He is something else. They dig this whole compound, this complex of holes and tunnels and building these things. He built a pulley system. I think it was last week on the front here on the tree. He got his tire from his old bike. He put it up in the tree, put a rope over that. I grabbed a stick, grabbed a white barrel, and was able to create a pulley system. So when they have a tree fort, apparently I'm now going to have to get a tree fort up. So he has a pulley system in place. That kid is always wanting to fix something. He is just always looking to help on something. He helped me on the chicken wire. We got that cut up and put it on the ground to protect from animals going in. So he is definitely. She shredded the chicken today for the. Oh, nice! Clean the cabinets. Middle one was cleaning the floors. Nice. Spoiling me. You got good girls. They're doing a great job. That's awesome. That's great. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, sorry. I just heard it. The donkey across the road. We have cows across the road, and we have a cornfield over here. But anytime I hear that donkey, that means that there's a coyote somewhere. Where is my 22? Oh no, I don't have. I have my sidearm, so I have my carry weapon with me tonight. But sometimes there'll be coyotes over here. So when I go back to the house in the evening time, that's why I usually have my 22 with me. A little. It's just a Smith and Wesson little 22 semi-automatic rifle that I have out here in case it gets a little crazy. If I hear them out in the woods, but I hear that donkey because the donkeys like to protect the cows as well over there. Singing hymns while doing it. I can't stress enough how happy that made me. That's cool. They're singing hymns. That is really cool. That is awesome. If we lived closer, I could teach the girls to sew. Yes, a lot of sewing. If no one's figured it out yet, Prov Gal would be my wife. I gave that away. Yes, she loves to sew. I think, she just makes a lot of baby blankets right now. But yeah, and that's a huge important thing. Guys need to learn to cook too. Don't get me wrong, but I think you girls are got a great dad. I really do. I really believe that in my heart. And they got a great dad, and you're doing a great job with everything you have to deal with. I think you're doing a great job up there. I think it's awesome. I wish I could have you more over here, like we had you up in Thanksgiving. Wait, was it Thanksgiving? No, it wasn't Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, I'm getting old. I have a terrible memory. I'm going to have to buy a sewing machine. I think I'm going to have to learn and teach them. I want to dart my shirts so they look proper. I don't even know what that means. It was Thanksgiving. Okay, I thought it was. I'm like, I think it was Thanksgiving. So you know my boys, and they're very polite, very courteous, and they have manners at the table like they're supposed to. They have no manners outside with each other because, well, they're brothers, and that's what brothers do. They get on each other's case, and they get after one another. But that's what siblings do. But at the end of the day, they've been taught that no matter what, you guys can be angry with each other sometimes and so forth. But at the end of the day, you have to be there for one another. You've got to be there for each other, because it's a crazy world out there, and people are going to turn on you and so forth. You need to count on each other and be there. I think that's hugely important. They just had to resolve an issue the other day. Was that last week? The other day? I can't remember. But they had to resolve an issue. Excuse me, I wasn't here, and then they were arguing out there, and then I had them stop what they were doing, communicate with each other, and figure out how they can get on the same page, which they end up doing. It gets rid of the poof in the back when you dart your shirt so you could tuck your shirt in. I don't know. I'm just trying to show my girls what a gentleman is. Well, nice. Sadly, not too many gentlemen out there. Oh, and I'm showing them how to iron clothes. Nice. I don't wear any iron clothes. I never heard the word dart before. I just learned something new. Yeah, maybe it's not scriptural, it's not biblical, but learn something new. There we go. We can learn things in here. That's amazing. That's pretty cool. But man, I'm probably gonna have to shut this down. I feel bad. It's 2 hours in, and I'm enjoying this immensely. I really am. But 2 hours in, I know some people, if you're that side, an hour behind or anything like that, or 2 hours, it's not as late. But I want to be mindful of people's time as well. Anybody knows me, I can talk for hours. I can go on and on. Brother Jorge knows me. Christopher knows me. I'll talk forever. And obviously, my wife knows me, and I'll talk forever. But I'm a talker. I don't mind talking at all, which is kind of needed when you want to be out in the world witnessing and talking to people. You kind of want to have to talk. So with much regret, I don't want to hang up this live stream, but I think we should wrap it up. Sister Axe, if you are watching, or if you watch later, check in if somebody talks to her. I know my wife will probably talk to her. You will be in prayers. Brother Jorge, you will definitely be in prayer, especially with those girls that keep being a great dad. Christopher, if you're there, buddy, I've actually prayed for you a couple times on my own. Not in a negative way, man. I think you're a great guy, and I'm hoping to see more of you. So, but what's this? Thank you, Stephen. No, man, it's awesome that it was awesome that you showed up. I'm just thrilled to death, not to actual death, but I'm very grateful and thankful that you showed up. It was really it's not really nice to see you there. But well, Chris, you gotta get early. Oh no, it's Saturday night. You don't have to get up earlier than me. Monday you have to get up earlier than me. I'm gonna awkward way of hanging, ending the live stream tonight. But and as always, I am so awkward. I gotta look at the live stream button, click on the live stream button. Man, I'm getting old. But no, really, I'm really thankful, guys, for everybody being here tonight. And obviously, we'll be back next Saturday. We're not gonna have rub it in. Yeah, well, I mean, you got them hours in. I don't do the hours like you do anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll let the cab. Christopher and I work together, driving at a different company, and he knows he definitely knows what it's like to be up in 4 o'clock in the morning and getting home sometimes at 8, 9 o'clock at night after driving. So he's I got nothing on him. So I have an easy job now compared to him. So, but yeah, so I'm not just it's always going to be saying from now on, you're not going to see different titles on here. And this week we're going to talk about this. This week we're going to talk about that. It's going to be the same all the time. Good night, everyone. Have a blessed weekend. You too, sweetheart. Listen, have a great weekend. I'll talk to some of you down the road and so forth, but see everybody here next week. Incredibly grateful, thankful to everyone showing up tonight. Some more subscribers have showed up on my YouTube channel. It's just weird. Hey, if you can hit the like button, that'd be pretty cool too. Wait, I always want to do that. How does it work? Smash the like button and hit the subscribe. How do people do that? Smash the subscribe. I don't know. Never mind. I was gonna try to say it, but I can't. I forget how they do it. Hit the like button and smash the subscribe button, something like that. All right. Well, listen. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here. I'm gonna awkwardly hit the live stream to end it. God bless, and everybody who I don't talk to this week at all or communicate with, have a beautiful week, and God bless. Good night, everybody.